All right, all right. Okay. Let's talk about it. What we talking about? Let's talk about I'm gonna do it myself. That mentality, that personality trait that a lot of people have, especially if you're some kind of intellectual, where you might feel like you need to do everything on your own. So you got big expectations. Let me know if this sounds like you. You got big expectations out of life. You got big dreams, big goals. You want to be powerful or influential. You want to be wealthy. You want to build wealth. You want to help people in the world, all that type of stuff. But for whatever reason or another, you think that you don't really have contact with enough people who think like you. So you might just feel like you need to take on more responsibility, and basically Captain Save 'em is who you might be described as. That might be because you're the person who thinks that you're supposed to provide the wealth for generations for your entire family tree. You might be trying to provide for your kids, your parents, and your kids, right? You might be trying to help your friends out, help yourself, and help your loved ones, etc. Point being, basically, let me tell you why you need to make sure you strike the proper balance, okay? So we got two sides of things. There's the side of being an introvert and making sure that you know how to go within, you know how to introspect, be a thinker, get to know yourself, get to know your habits, your tendencies, your abilities, your talents, and your weaknesses especially, and of course your strengths. And when you get to a certain point in life, you got to recognize that you're only going to be able to get so far if you try to do everything alone, right? It is super important for you to figure out how to do things for yourself, of course. However, there's a very thin line between you pushing yourself to your fullest potential and still being able to recognize that you have to participate in society. You have to actually work with other people. And there's so many geniuses who get so used to being an introvert, locking yourself in a room and thinking it through, figuring it out. You can get a long way that way, don't get me wrong. However, you're not going to go as far as the person who's got good connections, all right? So never, ever think that you don't need somebody else, because you do. Whether you like it or not, we need each other. Us as humans, we need each other. We're supposed to work together. And is it really something to brag about if you worked hard your whole life and you got the stuff that you got? Because here's something that I think might be even more worthy of bragging about. If somebody didn't work hard and they still got it, they got it easily. Just think about if you achieved everything that I achieved, but I got it 10 times easier and I wasn't nearly as stressed out and you were hella stressed out, for example, right? Bro, it sounds like the person who figured out how to work smarter and not harder is actually getting it. We got programmed in this society a lot of the time to think that, like, you got to work hard. Hard work pays off, right? They say hard work pays off. You don't want the pay to be off, though. You want the pay, you want the pay to be together, right? Like, I don't know. But anyways, I got to make sure that you recognize this, because this is one of the biggest things that I think that I've seen in a lot of people who have a lot of potential, is that they have these personality traits where they just want to do everything themselves. Let me tell you something, bruh. That ain't how to get it done the most effectively and most efficiently. You might have the ability to be the captain, the freaking producer or the production manager, the director, the actor, and the screenwriter, right? But bro, you're not supposed to do everything all by yourself all the time, because at some point you got to realize that you actually have limitations to some extent. When it comes to how much time you got in a day, you only got 24 hours. If you're spending all 24 working, guess what you're not doing? Recognizing all of the other things in life that actually mean more. There's so many people who get caught up in working hard and working a lot. But really, when you really do some scientific studies and research, plenty of research has been done to show that people are actually more effective when they're working, when they work in shorter time frames. You're actually a lot more productive in the short time frames versus if you just spent 8 hours straight going hard, right? With no breaks or barely any breaks, just like a 15-minute break and a 30-minute or some crap like that. Nah, bruh, you got to figure out a system in which you can make the product very high quality without a high quantity of time that you're spending, because the time is the one thing that's catching up with you, bro. That's the one thing that you can never feel like you have enough of when you got a lot on your to-do list. So you got to make sure that you figure out how to be as efficient as possible when you're doing these things. When you're putting together a big project, when you're building something monumental, if you want to have an empire or anything close, you got to realize very quickly there are a lot of moving parts to something like that. And you're not going to be able to haul the weight of the entire galaxy on your back without having other souls involved. It's better to utilize other people's talents, gifts, resources, etc. Especially when they got access to more than you have. So it's something super important to recognize. If you don't do enough networking, you should definitely do more of that. If you have people in a certain industry that maybe they have a leg up on you, they have achieved things that you want to achieve. Even if it's not necessarily somebody who's in the same industry as you, if they simply have any sort of resources that you could benefit from, you should make that connection and learn from them, because there's something that you have that you can offer them, and there's definitely something, obviously, that they have that you could benefit from. But getting to know people, actually, recognizing people's uniqueness, people's individual talents, gifts, and figuring out their problems. Figure out what people's problems are and how you can solve them, because it's so important, especially when you start dealing with highly important people, highly influential people, powerful people, successful people, etc. People of great value. You have to come with value. You can't just be like, hey, let me take up your time and pick your brain and ask you a bunch of questions, and you're not offering anything. So you got to recognize that you're either going to have to pay them for their time, or you're going to have to reward them somehow with benefiting their life somehow, because you can't be a parasite. It can't be like a parasitic relationship that goes one way. Get a mentor. Do your best to get a mentor, bro. Seriously, especially if you are trying to be an entrepreneur, or if you are an entrepreneur. You have so many people who've been where you've been. There's so many people who have already done it. So many people who have achieved everything that you can imagine that you want to achieve. Somebody has done it. You ain't got any original thoughts out here. I don't care how creative you think you are. When it comes to how to define something or how to describe something in words, somebody already did it before. Of course, you can invent something new, but guess what? In order to invent something new, you're probably still going to have to utilize something that somebody else already invented. So, like I said, we need each other. We need each other's collaboration. We need other people's ideas to stack up and put our ideas on top to make something even greater, even if they already created something great, etc. Hopefully you get it. Now, where can you find people to connect with networking wise? All right, because you can't do everything yourself. So where can you find these people? You ever heard of score.org? SCORE.org. Check it out. You can find you a mentor on there. Somebody who could be a professional in anything, experienced in anything, and they are probably willing to be your mentor for absolutely free. Check out that website if you have it. Also, you could do networking events. There are specific events where people buy tickets just to talk to other people who are in their industry or in other industries, other entrepreneurs, etc., who are looking for people to collaborate with. Any type of like seminars or summits, dinners, all type of stuff like that, a ball. You can be a part of all these events, and mind you, you can host them too, and you can make a crap load of money selling tickets, just saying. But of course that comes with a whole, that's a skill. You gotta be able to get the venue, get the connections, get the people there, marketing, get the tickets, get people to buy into it, get the vendors, etc. But if you want to do all that, you can get paid some really good money. Just wanted to mention that. But these type of events where people connect people, you need to be in those rooms. Okay, you need to realize you already have access to a lot of people in your life, whether you recognize it or not. And you know who you know, but you need to get to know who they know also. Because if they ain't got no money, they probably know somebody who got some money, for example, right? So especially don't sleep on older people, because that's the thing, is that a lot of people, for whatever reason, people are more attracted to the youthful type of energies, the young people and stuff. Older people like young people like young people. But I noticed that a lot of people, for whatever reason, do not truly appreciate the value that older people have that they can bring to the world, because they got the experience. They actually got the stories to tell. They've been there, done that, etc. So please don't be naive in thinking that it makes sense for all your friends to be a part of the same age group or anywhere close, because really, young people are supposed to be kicking it with old people. And we know this just because of how life is set up, right? Naturally, when you have a kid, you're significantly older than your child. And guess what? The grandparents, a lot of the time, are the ones who end up being around the kids more than the parents even sometimes. So when you think about that, it's clear that the elders are supposed to be the ones pouring into the young people very, very consistently. So I just wanted to point that out. Short little video, short, sorta. Hey, leave me a comment, click thumbs up, holla.